This is the Mausoleum of Ho Chi Minh here in Barin Square, Hanoi. This is one of the most visited attractions here in the capital city of Vietnam, Hanoi. This is the final resting place of Ho Chi Minh, the most iconic and popular leader of Vietnam, or better known to his people as Uncle Ho. His body is inside of that mausoleum and it is preserved in a glass case. The construction of this mausoleum started in 1973 and was modeled after the Lenin's mausoleum in Russia, and it was opened to public in the year 1975. This mausoleum is made up of granite, which meant a great deal for many locals as it ensures that their beloved leader lives on forever. The security here in this place is very tight. There are guards and police all over the place, so you have to also follow the dress code: no shorts, sleeveless, or miniskirts as much as possible. And everyone who wants to have a glimpse of the remains of Ho Chi Minh has to deposit their bags and cameras before getting in the mausoleum. Visitors are allowed to have a glimpse, but you just have to pass by the casket or that glass case, so you cannot stay there for quite a long time. This Barin Square is actually very historic for Vietnam, or for the Vietnamese, because this is where President Ho Chi Minh read the Proclamation of Independence of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam on September 2, 1945. So this place remains as one of the major sites of tourism and pilgrimage here in Hanoi. So for everyone who wants to visit Hanoi in the future, a trip to Ho Chi Minh's final resting place here in Barin Square can be an extraordinary experience, because this is not just an average attraction, but it is also a part of a unique history. So you will be able to have a glimpse of Vietnam's rich and unique history as well. Hello guys, I'm here right now at the Temple of Literature in Hanoi, Vietnam. So this is one of the famous attractions also here in Vietnam. If you happen to visit Vietnam one day, you've got to see this place. It's a bit crowded now because there are a lot of foreigners from the different parts of the world. So I couldn't take good pictures and videos because the place is so crowded. The entrance fee is only 30,000 VND, and if you wanted to have a tour guide, that's additional 50,000 VND. The Temple of Literature is often cited as one of Hanoi's most picturesque tourist attractions. Originally built as a university in 1070 dedicated to Confucius, scholars, and sages, the building is extremely well preserved and is a superb example of a traditional style Vietnamese architecture. This ancient site offers the Lake of Literature, the Well of Heavenly Clarity, turtle steels, pavilion courtyards, and the passageways that were once used by the royalties. By visiting the Temple of Literature, you will discover historic buildings from the Li and the Chan dynasties in a revered place that has seen thousands of doctors graduate, and what has now become the memorial to education and literature in Vietnam. Originally, the university only accepts aristocrats and the elite and the royal family members as their students, but eventually they opened the doors to the commoners. Successful graduates had their names engraved on these steel tones that can be found on the top of the turtle stones. The Temple of Literature is a place for study rather than a religious landmark. There are 5 courtyards at the temple, 2 brimming with the landscaped gardens. The third is the home of a large pond known as the Well of the Heavenly Clarity. The fourth courtyard is called the Sage Courtyard and features a statue of Confucius and a house of ceremonies. And the last courtyard is the Tai Hop, in which would stands the large drum and the bell tower. The layout of the temple is based upon the birthplace of Confucius, with a magnificent main entrance and path, once reserved solely for the king, running through the center. The Immaculate Gardens are rich in ancient trees and are considered serene place in which students can relax. There are some stone statues and inscriptions dotted throughout the temple, which has retained many of its original features. The Temple of Literature is located near the Badin Square or the Ho Chi Minh's Mauseleum. This is also close to the Presidential Palace and Vietnam's Fine Arts Museum. The temple is particularly located in between the Ton Doc Tang Street and Van Mu Street, which is also near the Wan Kiem Lake in Don Da District, Hanoi. Inside the temple, you can also find some souvenir shops. So if you wanted to buy some souvenirs, you can drop by to these shops and buy some souvenirs that you want. The Temple of Literature is also called as the Temple of Culture or the Temple of Confucius. This is also considered as Vietnam's first national university. And of course, the temple is also featured at the back of the 100,000 VND or Vietnamese Dong banknote. The picture at the back of the 100,000 VND is the Temple of Literature here in Hanoi, Vietnam. And this is another tourist attraction here in Vietnam. This is the St. Joseph's Cathedral that lies in the old quarter of Hanoi. And this cathedral was built in 1886 by the French colonialist. This is close to the Wan Kiem Lake, and what makes this church unique is that it features the twin bell towers and stained windows. This cathedral has a beautiful architecture. The glass windows and an elaborate altar are among the noteworthy features. It is locally known as the Big Church, and this becomes the headquarters of the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Hanoi for more than 4 million Catholics in Vietnam. Hanoi, Vietnam is one of the most visited cities in the Asia Pacific. Hanoi is sometimes dubbed as the Paris of the East for its French influences. With its 3 French boulevards, more than 24 lakes, and thousands of French colonial-era buildings, it is with no wonder that Hanoi is one of the popular tourist destinations in Asia.